What's up, everybody? John with the Foxbody Den. I'm here with my co-host Nick,
20 years. What's up,
and
guys?
we're here with Mr. John Parker. We're gonna call this episode Parker Part 2. When you have a gentleman that's been in the Foxbody game for 40 years, you can't fit it in one episode. So we're gonna pick up where we left off. So Parker Part 2. John, we're recording the next day. I think you're our first guest that's recording a podcast on a laptop in your Foxbody Mustang. Tell me about that.
I'm at home today. Last night when we did this, I was at the shop and I ended up sitting on a pile of door panels to get close to the router. So that kind of like threw me off. I was in an uncomfortable position with no cigarettes, no drink, and I know I can drive in one of these for 16 hours, so we could talk for a little longer.
So you're much more comfortable today. You got your drink.
Yeah,
You got your cigarettes. You're in a Foxbody. I mean,
out on the lake all day. Yeah.
Who's got it better than you today, right?
Yeah, today's a good day.
So in episode 1, we talked a lot about your 40 years, but primarily mostly all the pre-COVID stuff. There, you mentioned you were you had multiple cars. Your first cars in '86, and then you had multiple cars, and then you kind of you got out of the community for a while, and then you really got back in like right before COVID 2019. But you were telling me before we jumped on, you wanted to just make a clarification of how you got out in the late '90s. What was that, John?
Well, no, I had a shop. I think I didn't even mention that when we talked last night. And, I was real young when I opened it. And, you were, during the early days of doing these things, taking catalytic converters off of cars and stuff was making trouble. And anyway, I closed the doors on the shop. It was just too much aggravation, you know what I mean? But so when I say I got out of it, I stopped trying to make money at it. I still had cars, but wasn't crazy about it every day. Wasn't buying and selling 4 of them a week or anything like that. You know what I mean? I had slowed down immensely.
So you were doing the same thing back in the '90s that you're doing today. You were buying, fixing, and reselling cars.
I was buying cars from like the salvage auction and stuff. You could buy cars at the salvage auction that had clean titles, small. I don't know how some of them came through like that, and do a couple of those. And we were doing a lot of 5-liter conversions, you know what I mean? Buy a wrecked one from the salvage auction, take the drive line out and put it into an earlier car, put newer noses on earlier cars, stuff like that back in the day, buy an 83 and make it, yeah. And then, at some point it kind of lost its fun and, life and all that crap. But, so how did I get back into it? 2019, I got a call from a guy I sold a car to 13 years prior, and he basically
you sold a Saline to him.
An '88 Saline back in 2006. So it was a long time before that I sold it to him before, and he ended up dismantling the car for paint, got it painted, never reassembled the car. I got it literally in pieces, and then I threw it out on the Saline page. This is what opened my eyes to what was going on in the community, So
I posted it on the Saline page in 2019.
In 2019, yeah. So
Facebook group you're talking about, Saline Facebook group?
Yeah, like 84 to 93, Saline USA, whatever the page may have been. And so I was kind of a newbie to that group, and I posted up, pictures of my basket case, and I did an inventory, and I needed a shift knob, and that's when I really, I had to pay $600 for a shift knob. That's what got me into making them. But anyway, I got a message from one of the guys, a popular guy in the groups, and he offered me good money for the car, and I thought it was a scam. Next thing you know, he's sending me a picture of his South Carolina police state ID. And he's telling me, if you think it's a scam, message me at my state police email, So
how much did he offer you, John? You could freely say.
Yeah, 19 grand, which it blew my mind because I can't tell you what I paid for it. So I had sold the car for $6,700 in 2006, and the guy sold it back to me for considerably less because he had dismantled the car. And so he showed up the following day with a trailer, and he had wired me the money. I had it in about an hour and a half. That, at that moment I realized, holy crap, we got something here, because we still had a lot of cars at that point and a ton of parts, and so that got me going to Foxtoberfest. You know what I mean? So
you had realized that the market had shifted. That
yeah, like
prices of these
I had
cars.
never dreamed that these cars would go beyond like the Tri-5 Chevys or anything like that. Like when we were in high school, you know what I mean? I never thought I was going to see a $70,000 Mustang. You know what I mean? Now we've like so far surpassed that. I thought these were throwaway cars. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
they were
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
90s. Yeah.
$70,000 Foxbody, not Mustang. I'm
No,
sorry.
well, that's what I mean. When I say Mustang, yeah, I don't like any other ones. You know what I mean? But well, no, that's not true. I like a lot of the newer ones, but you know what I'm saying. So I've thrown away a lot of good Fox bodies, that I feel stupid about. But you can never look back at that. But so anyway, that got me into the Celine thing again, and now I started, selling parts, buying parts again. I got excited about marketplace. You know what I mean? Facebook was a lot of fun then. I was selling a ton of stuff, and I still am. But that got me back into it, and then we got hit with the COVID, which pushed me into the back of our garage more. We still run a sealing business, but that got me into the cars more. And then I had, John the Wheelman. He started working with me. I wouldn't be doing any of this without any help. You know what I'm saying? I still got to run the sealing business, and so we got Eli working back there. Eli Smith.
Yep.
But the,
Eli today. Yep.
I
Yep.
think
yeah.
he's the guy that has like the most miles that I can recall. That
Oh, it's crazy. I don't
drives
even know
everywhere.
he could calculate it by what shows he's been to, but I don't think he'd ever really get an accurate number. He's it's funny because like he's got 273 gears in that car now, and he had to
Two
put him.
seventy threes.
Well,
Highway driving.
he had to put him in a pinch because he blew up his rear end, and now he loves them. But of course, if you're going to do all that highway driving,
Oh yeah.
love,
Isn't
love
isn't that how you met Eli? Didn't he blow up his rear end at
uh, that
Foxtoberfest?
that was like a year and a half or so after we met Eli. We met Eli at the first Motor City, so
Okay.
yeah, in a parking lot of a hotel, and
Yep.
he had tires rubbing, and he still has tires rubbing.
Who doesn't?
So I took a sledgehammer to his quarter panels for him in the parking lot, and
That happened.
And
tried,
you
yeah,
and you he blew a rear. Was it
yeah, ponies in the Smokies, yeah, and so we brought
25?
we brought him down a rear end when we were coming down, and
Yep.
that's how we ended up with the 273. But yeah,
Swapping out that rear end right there. What in the parking
he,
lot, right?
no, I don't know what parking lot. I just delivered the rear end. Him and they were at a Airbnb, I think they did it at. So we delivered it. They installed it. I didn't know nothing.
Eli's a good guy. So I saw that on Facebook. He's working. I guess he's living in your area. He's working with you full time now,
No,
correct?
no. He's living with my dad.
Okay, he's living
Uh,
with your father, but he's living in the area and he's
Yeah,
working with you full time.
right, right in Springfield, and you guys have met my character of a father, right?
Is he
We have.
working the sealing business or the Mustangs?
No, the Mustang. So him and John are working
Gotcha.
in the back full time, and I'm usually back there, but lately I've been busy with other things, So they're back
So
there
you
working.
you got two good mechanics now building these
Yeah.
cars with you. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
That's excellent. Eli's a gem, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's a humble guy. He does all the work himself. I love watching him, man. His
Yeah,
cars.
and he gets around, and it's crazy. It's like he takes the long way home. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the
Like,
scenic route. He
see,
stops and takes pictures. Eli,
yeah,
shout out to Eli, man.
Shout out
Definitely.
to
yeah,
Eli. Yeah, yeah. When
yeah.
you go into your Google Maps or your Waze setting, there's the Eli scenic route. Nobody see. You got to like look. It's like three or four options down, but that's the way Eli takes. But yeah, he
Well,
drives the shit out of that. That's a Capri, right?
yeah. It's a '79 Mercury Capri, and
79. Okay.
yeah, it's a little high compression, so it runs a little hot. You know what I mean? But yeah, he definitely travels the hell out of it, and has
It
to
runs
think.
a little hot. He's logging all those miles.
Logging all those. Oh yeah, no, he's got all sorts of issues he deals with along the way. He
You
packs a
got
tool.
that roof rack to carry parts,
He takes.
tires, I think everything, and that's
He
it.
wants to add a tent to it or something. He's talking about putting a trailer behind it. Have an ensemble, and that would be kind of cool. You'd never need a hotel. You could just
You know
pull
what, John? Find like old rusted Fox if it's got a hatch and cut it up.
half of it.
Then like
Yeah,
a hatchback this way. Cut that. Put a piece of sheet metal.
yeah.
Hit it, and you can
I,
fill
I
it.
think he needs more like a little scamp. He needs a real shaggin' wagon. You know what I mean? Something.
Shagging. Wait, yeah, he is 20, is he 25, 26 years old?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe.
Shagging wagon at 25 years old.
Yeah, you got lost, young man. So.
That's great.
My neighbor back in the day, I'll never forget. Back in the day, he had this, one of those conversion vans, and he used to park it on the street. It was this old conversion van, and we used to make fun of him because he had a sticker on it that said, "If the vans are rocking, don't come knocking."
Yeah,
Classic. That's how you get all the ladies to come in there. Free puppies and candy in back. You know what I mean? But I never got anything. But
I swear it's so funny because my wife tells me that last night. She's like, I think I mentioned it on a text between the guys. She's like, we need an RV because my son's traveling now for his career. He dances and he works for an agency that's all over the country. So wherever
yeah.
he goes, my wife's got to go. So now she's like, we got to find these conversion vans. But the one she picked, I got to like sell a house to buy a house.
Well,
That's gonna that's gonna cut into your Foxbody collection, Nick. You got to sell some cars.
That's
Watch
exactly
out for
what she
Nick.
said. That's
Nick
exactly.
Fournier's. He's gonna be listing some soon.
For all the listeners, stay tuned. She wants one bad, so get ready.
nice. You guys have seen me traveling in that relic of an RV to the swap meets, right? Up
Yeah.
at Foxtoberfest. We got a clunker of an RV, and we towed the trailer full of parts up there, and camped right out at Foxtoberfest. That was a second year of Foxtoberfest that we did that. So yeah, where were we? 2019. Go to the first Foxtoberfest because that got me back into it, and that is, your hairs are going to stand up on your arm the first time you go to that show. You know what I mean? Like that, it blew me away what people were doing with these cars. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize how strong the community had gotten at that point. You know what I mean? And yeah, it
So,
was.
so 2019, John, you buy your old Saline back, you sell it,
Yeah,
it in parts. You're like, holy shit, I sold this thing for 19,000. I can't believe I got that kind of money. You go to
yeah,
Foxtoberfest, you realize something had shifted,
yeah,
with these cars in this community, right? So
absolutely. Yeah,
we got a lot into and in the first episode about all this pre-19 pre-COVID stuff and stuff like that. So 2019, let's talk about what you've been doing since then, like 2020, what you're doing. I know you restarted that 5.0,
yeah, 5 O's to go. Yeah,
five
yeah,
O's to go. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
That's what I called it back in 1990, and I figured, hey, let's use it again. But yeah, basically what we do is, I've been buying cars to either part out or fix up a bit and flip, and hey, we'll do the occasional customer car. You know what I mean? And, it might do one or two customer cars a year, as like a restoration, like a stock restoration under the hood, or a supercharger on weird stuff we end up doing, 68 GT500s. But anyway, most of what we do is part out cars, sell parts at the swap meet, sell parts on marketplace. Not just sell junk parts, clean them up. And not just pull off a dirty part and sell it with gaskets on it. Um, then cars that we do, we build a few cars a year, maybe 4 or 5 cars a year. Nothing crazy expensive. You know what I mean? We're not doing $100,000 builds. Maybe a built 351. Maybe a 331 stroker. Kind of whatever we got from some of these cars that we parted out, or whatever I got on parts trades. You know what I mean? Oftentimes somebody will have a project and they'll want to trade me for a car that I have finished, and I'll end up with a brand new engine. You know what I mean? Then I can use that in a car that I'm going to build. You know what I mean? So we're kind of just horse trading our way through this. You know what I mean? And that's it's been a fun ride, no doubt. And back in the day in the '90s, I used to do the swap meets, and I used to have a megaphone. I always enjoyed controversy and haggling with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been hustling with these cars and whatever that I do since day one. So
Do you feel like the social media helps your business now?
yeah,
Taking
yeah,
you
yeah.
through it?
No question about it. And like last night, maybe we got the wrong idea. Social media has absolutely, been everything to the Fox bodies and everything to the car community, everything to what I've been doing. You know what I mean? And so, you know, people call me angry boomer and stuff. I know, and I guess I do sound like an angry boomer. Why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? But that's from scrape ups with like four people out of thousands of people that I've dealt with on Facebook. All great experiences selling parts, and these things aren't just selling people parts. You know how many questions we got? People are sending you pictures. Where does this wiring harness go to? What door? Do you know where this part goes? And you end up talking to people all day, every day about little details of stuff. And it's not just what part you have listed. People are reaching out to you for stuff that they can't find. And we just got piles of junk everywhere, but not really junk.
Well, sometimes it's hard to find. Believe me,
Yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
a shitload of stuff in my shop behind me here. It's like, and it just I accumulate. Every car I buy comes with something, and then it's like, all
Yeah.
right, I'll put it on the shelf.
Right, you unload the trunk of the car that you just bought, and you have no idea, and then you're like, "Oh my God, it's a Motorcraft distributor, brand new."
You ended up with an intake that I had no idea how I inherited.
Which the GT40 one there?
Brand new. I had no idea. It came in one of the cars I bought. I'm like, all right.
You know what the funny thing is, Nick? That intake is on the car I'm sitting on right now. It's in this car. Yeah, yeah. You shipped it to me. I put it in that 351
So
intake.
it's out on my shelf probably 4 years, and now it's in your car. So this is what I mean. That it's good stuff. Is just guys like myself, like John. Like how much stuff do
Yeah.
you have, John? That you build your car, it's sitting on the side. It's stock. Nothing wrong with it. It'll probably go for another
Mhm.
100,000 miles. But hey, you upgraded the K member, so you got a K member. You got you know all these parts that are good. So it's, what you're doing is great. I'm all for it.
Yeah, my Saline quartered a four. I did. I pretty much swapped everything. I swapped out the suspension, the whole drivetrain. I mean, the whole thing. On a At the time it was a 12,000 mile car. Now I have 15,000 miles on it. But I mean, I kept all the stock parts: stock motor, stock T5, stock springs. Yeah, it's all there. It's in a box and
Yeah.
saline. I mean, I'm never going to sell it because if I ever go to sell the car,
Oh,
I mean, I'm never going to sell the parts
Oh,
without the car. The parts go with the car.
with the
But I
car.
mean, other stuff, like you said, I pulled out some nice stuff, and while I was building things, and I've got it sitting on a shelf and stuff like that. I never list it. Maybe one day I'll use it, or we do a lot of horse trading between ourselves.
yeah.
Nick, Carl, Vinny, a lot of the guys in Long Island, and even you, John. Like you're close enough. Like you picked up Nick's intake there. That was an NOS intake, right? That was brand new, right?
It was, but by the time it went on and off a car and at what point are they not NOS anymore?
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful. It's the original finish. It's and most of them that are out there are repainted and stuff. You know what I mean? So it was cool to have one with the original finish, and uh, looks beautiful on the car.
I'll
Yeah.
call you because I got a bunch of other stuff too
No,
right
I
now.
know.
Granny's
Yeah, I
parts.
got to go out and see Vinny again, and I love shopping at Vinny's. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You go there for some derelict of a car, and you end up buying like everything else. Hey, Vinny, you got any engines? Oh, I got this
listen, John,
part.
you're making a mistake. You go all the way east out to Vinny, then
Yeah,
you got to go west to take the ferry back. But right on your way is Nick's shop, so there's a lot of stuff sitting in there that you're missing out on. So if you're on the way back, you
that's
stop
it.
at Nick's, you're gonna find some stuff, man. You're gonna. I don't
Yeah,
know if he's gonna sell it though.
yeah. I get anxiety if I'm on the island too long. I think there's going to be traffic, and I'm going to get stuck there. You know what I mean? Every time I'm leaving, I think if I wait another 10 minutes, I might hit traffic. You've seen it happen, right?
Well, that is Long Island. I mean, I
Yeah.
sometimes travel like to Nick's shop. I live on Staten Island by New Jersey,
Yeah.
if I take a straight ride out to Nick's shop, it's an hour and a half. And sometimes I'll ride out there, go to a car show in the morning, an hour and a half. The car show ends at 2, 3 o'clock on a Sunday. I
Four
put it in
hours,
my
you
ticket.
bet.
It's 4 hours. I'm like, fuck, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
believe me, I know all about that Long Island and New York City
yeah.
traffic. Unfortunately, I got to go through it. So we were talking about the social media, right? So of course, social media is good for horse trading, buying and selling parts and stuff like that. There's obviously a bunch of influencers, bunch of people, posting the cars and stuff like that. Tell me what you think about that, like the community, the posting, the videos, the stuff that you're seeing. What's your opinion on that?
Well, yeah, I would say when I say that I'm so sick of everybody making a YouTube channel, it's when people have absolutely no content and nothing to add. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like, for example, I heard your pod with Kenneth. You know what I mean? That is full of so much information. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows every detail of the car. You know what I mean? Of course he does. Powerhouse guest. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these people and you guys are really doing an awesome job, and that ain't me blowing smoke up your ass. You know what I mean? You're bringing on great guests and talking about real things, talking about cars. You know what I mean? Things have not gone astray. You know what I mean? I'd like to see things. Maybe it's because I'm old, and you guys are making me realize that. I love. Well, I'm saying, like, I think everything should be shaped in the form of like a Super Ford magazine article. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like when I hear some of these people that are on podcasts and stuff, you know how when you had like a Super Ford, you had the color 4-page articles on the great builds, and then in the back you had the black and white one of the guy who put some wheels on his bone stock automatic GT. You know what I'm saying? Use that in context. You know what I mean? Give those people 15 minutes. Don't put them on for 2.5 hours with the 4-page color ad of look at nothing. You know what I'm saying?
For my red GT with CCWs, I'm in the back of the line, I guess. I only got rims on there.
But
I know what you're saying.
you know what I mean? Like, I would buy that magazine every month because I wanted some juicy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
You want to know you want to hear from the people that are building it real lifetime, like right
Yeah,
now, how
yeah,
they're doing it, what they ran into. Like,
yeah,
this is very
yeah,
like clear on what he bought, how he's going about it, what he's
yeah,
going to do with it. So it makes you say, "Oh, all right. So if I do this, I need more than just a drivetrain. I
yeah.
need,
Of course.
I
Yeah,
need,
yeah. It's not just throw a turbo on it or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah, so much goes into all of it. But yeah, I'm saying that's the kind of stuff that I think we should be talking about. I don't think we should be celebrating a bunch of AI nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see like these AI insane stupid videos. You know what I mean? People
real
dancing around.
talk, real talk. Like we were calling it the other day, John Table Talk. Our real talk. Like
Yeah,
just hit record while we sitting there talking cars. Like we were all hanging out. We just hit record and talked real talk. Like what the scenarios. Like I was on the side of the road banging a hammer on my quarter panels to get my fenders rolled. You know what I mean? Like that
yeah.
was real talk. It was
Oh
not.
yeah,
Otherwise, you weren't making it to SN City.
I wasn't making it. Yeah, it was my decision to do it the day before. I get it.
To
Now
yeah.
for
lower the car.
Carlisle, I
Oh
was
yeah.
messing with my car for Carlisle. I'm like, you know what? Let me just dress it up for now, and I'll do the big stuff that I want to do after because
Yeah.
I learned.
Well, yeah,
You know,
that we all find out the hard way the springs settle, and it's awful. We've ran into it several times, and a hammer is something you got to bring with you, you know. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, Nick found out the hard way that those springs settle. I was following him, John. He hit a bump. I was behind him, and it's my fault because I teased him 2 nights before we left. He was changing his wheels out at Carl's shop. I was picking up my Chrome, and he put the wheels on, man, and that fucking car was sitting real high. And I'm like, Nick, what are you doing, man? You're sitting like a fucking 4x4, right? So he looks at me, and then the day before we leave for SN, he goes to Vinny's shop, and he's like, hey, guys, I got these lowering springs. So Vinny's guys popped in a lowering
Yeah.
springs. And as we're driving down, John, every hour, we started out like 3 o'clock, and it's
lower and
dark.
lower.
And it's getting lower, and then he hit a bump, probably in Virginia, right before
Right, a
we
tire.
were on the pulling off in the rest stop. Shards of tire, both sides. I was like, "Oh shit, this is bad." And then you pulled over, and you wound up taking the metal hammer to it,
Yep.
and you wound up, massaging it or fixing it, doing surgery on the side of the road, and you were able to go
I
get
made
to
it
the
there.
show, drive around, drive back.
Yeah, and I had to even order 2 tires, and they were waiting for us at Prestige Engine Builders. I ordered them just in case, God forbid, I had to drive there in donuts. I was making it to the show. We were like, I'm making it to the show. There's
Yep.
enough donuts that I could go 4 donuts if I got to. The tires were waiting for us at Prestige.
You can go pretty far on a donut.
Doesn't look so good though, you know.
We were making it to the show though, but I prepared ahead. It cost me more in tires, but you know what? We made it there. It was a good time. It was all worth it.
all the mistakes you make, right? My father used
The
to.
paint is okay or what?
The paint, I honestly, I'm a tinsmith. I do tin work. So I'm a
Yeah.
tin knocker. I
HVAC, yeah.
I hit this thing like I had my hand there, no heat, no nothing. I got nothing. The only chip I got was our friend Aldo used a wrench and popped right into the car like boom. Oh man, sorry about that.
You
But
need,
at that point, that's when I
yeah,
grabbed the hammer and I said, I got this. Everybody
yeah.
stand back.
Yep, that's what you got to do. Yeah, we
No
got.
heat, man. No heat. I mean, I think you chipped the paint, but it is pretty much folded up inside where it's rolled. But you couldn't really see anything outside, man. Just surgery on the side on a rest stop in Virginia, man, and he did it. But my father used to say to me all the time, the first time you make a mistake, it's a mistake. The second time is a choice. So don't ever do that again, Nick.
No.
Unfortunately, we learn from our mistakes. I've had a lot of expensive lessons since I got back into this community and stuff like that. You just can't make the same mistakes twice. If you do, our daddy Carl Melendez will be there to yell at us and say, "I told you so." Right, Nick?
I was gonna go do painting my calipers on my RTR. I said, you know what? Let me just put the carbon fiber accessories for now till after Carlisle. You know what I
Let me
mean?
not mess with things before I head out 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
So you brought up a topic there, AI, right? I want to talk about this, right? Because I mean, I have a business, right? Not in the Mustang, not in the Mustang
Yeah.
business, but I have a business here in New York and New Jersey, and I got to tell you, man, I talk to a lot of people in businesses and all different industries and stuff like that. I think AI is a wonderful thing. I really do. I think, I get it. Like, look, people want human interaction, and I get it, right? Like, I don't want to watch a video and be fooled, right? I don't want someone to try to pass it off as a real video when it's AI,
Well,
right?
yeah, you see a lot of that and on YouTube videos, not particularly in the Foxbody community, but
Yeah.
car videos in general. You quickly realize that the whole thing, the voice, the script, and the video is completely AI, and you're like,
Let's
Jesus. And
let's
again,
let's be fair here, John. You're talking about the Instagram models. You're not talking about YouTube.
I didn't
Yes,
even
guys,
realize
most of those
it was
girls are not real.
AI. So yeah, so I'm saying, when you see those AI versions of things that aren't Fox bodies, you know what I'm saying? You see it on all sorts of ads and stuff. It'll be an AI rendering of a Fox body, and it's not a Fox body. It's kind of like, remember when your weird aunt or uncle would buy you one of those off-brand toys for Christmas, and the Mustang emblem would be all wrong and too big. That's what I'm looking at there. When I see it, it just gives me the cringe. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to use AI, can you at least do a little editing and have it use like an actual outline of a Fox body? You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
Fox body should not be half Dodge Omni 024. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well,
So can
that's
we
AI. It's just a
can we
tool.
have better fake stuff, please? That's all I'm
Well,
asking.
well, it is going to get better in the future. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is
What,
AI.
we're going to end up being the meat puppets for AI, as far as it seems like a cool thing to, and it's true, because it's getting to the point where, when I have these discussions, you think it won't make it into the boardroom and it won't replace the salesman. When you got your AI glasses on, you're going to be able to, in real time, fact check me and know that I'm full of shit and embarrass me in the boardroom and rule until my AI gets better. Then it's AI wars and we are the meat puppets. And so I'm saying, why don't we just have some real content and build some real shit that's not AI and post pictures of it?
The thing with AI is, I think AI is
You guys are building real cars. You don't need AI. You know what I'm saying? You'd be.
well. I'm talking AI in business, right?
Yeah.
I think AI is going to be in the future. It's going to be used as a tool for people personally and in business that's going to make you more efficient. I always think that. I mean, look at you. I
Oh no, if
mean,
you don't
look at
use it,
people.
you'll be left behind. You need to use it in business,
Yeah.
absolutely. And at this point, you can't. It's not a debate if we should use AI or not. We are using AI. It's going that direction, and I'm not saying talking ethically about AI or anything at this point. But as far as like in the car culture, I'm really
Keep it
seeing.
real. You want it real. Just
I
keep
Well,
it
want.
that's what I'm saying. There's always going to be a demand for authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So people can pick up AI. Like, look, I use AI for this podcast. I use AI for the Foxbody event.
Well,
Images and stuff
it's
like that.
funny because the suspicious kind of person I am, right? Like I had a kid working for me from the trade school, and every text message the kid would send me, it would sound like he's setting me up for something. You know what I mean? Every letter was perfect, and I'm like, 17-year-old kids don't talk this way. Why is he sending me messages like this? And then one of the other kids told me he uses AI to do all his text messages, and that's why it felt off to me. It felt disingenuous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, because I run a team of like 25 men in the field and this and that, and sometimes
Yeah.
the paperwork I get back, I wish they would have used AI because
Yeah, and I've said
I
that
mean,
too
the
because
customer signed this. I'm like, do you guys not proofread what you write?
right.
I mean, look. You could take a picture of a problem you're having, with your
Yeah.
car. You could take a picture, upload it to
We,
ChatGPT, and
we use
explain.
it all the time. We use it all the time in the shop. I mean,
I
it's
mean, look at that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
as far as like AI images, oftentimes John will take a picture of something we're doing, and he'll put a prompt into Chat GPT, and he'll turn it a totally different color and drop it with different wheels, and be like, "Look at that!" You know what I mean? And it's like holy
It's a
shit.
tool. Like John said, it's a tool, and it could be
Yeah,
used as a tool.
yeah,
You could take a picture, identify a part, find a
yeah.
part on the internet. So it's a tool. Yes.
Mm.
Listen, guys, like for
Yeah.
me, I
It's,
have I have Photoshop skills, right? Like I can get on Photoshop. I can
yeah.
do. I mean, I'm not a
It's gonna
professional.
take you so
But
long.
I can design images, right?
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, it takes me an hour to make a thumbnail for a YouTube. I can go on AI and just give it information. It can make it for me within 30 seconds.
right,
I've got other stuff I need to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like this
right. No,
podcast.
yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. I'm talking about all the silly videos, rollies and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was cute at first. It was, remember when, that Christmas that they came out with that dancing elf thing like 20 years ago, and everybody had their head on a dancing elf? All right, we've all seen your rollies going through Seattle. Okay, we're over that stupid dancing elf thing. Can we move on? Then the other day you saw somebody posted a rubber ducky with a fox body head on it. Did you see that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, stop. Hit the brakes. This is what I'm talking about. Can we take the corniness out of things? You know what I mean? We don't need a goddamn rubber ducky with a fox body head on it. If anybody,
Grass jeeps, right? Those
if
ducks
it,
for the
yeah,
jeep.
yeah, if anybody puts one of those on my car, I'm feeding it to my dog.
You're gonna get one now, John. You know that. You just set yourself up for the next car show. You
No,
said you're
really.
going to Carlisle. Are you going to Carlisle, John?
Yeah, if they start doing that, I'm just going to buy a Camaro.
Then you'll have a Camaro, Ducky.
Uh,
But like
man.
I said, I get it. Look, we all want authenticity. I get it. I think you're starting to see the pushback to that now because there are going to be, there are going to be industries that are going to be affected by it, right? Like
Oh, so
graphic
many.
designers and videographers, and you know,
Stockbrokers, even using ChatGPT for tunes. We have looked them,
everything.
everything. You got to check everything. But like, you look at what you think is a good timing table, and ChatGPT. How about figuring out what your horsepower the car is going to make? The thing
yeah,
nails it every damn time, and it
every
nails it
time.
right with the injector. The usage. You know what I'm saying? Everything
You can
lines
you
up.
can put in a build list and it'll tell you
Mhm.
it's good for this, it's good for the
Yeah.
street, it's good for drag racing. You should consider this. This is going to be the
Right.
horsepower range, and like you said, it'll give you a tune. It's fucking
Yeah.
crazy that you could
Well,
just plug right in. It's nuts.
Well, I guess my point is, can we stop using AI for stupid crap? It's kind of like when everybody got a 3D printer. Remember,
Uh-huh.
what is the first thing everybody printed with a 3D printer? Come on, be honest. Some sort of phallic symbol, and you know it. You know what I mean? Everybody printed something obnoxious. Nobody made anything useful with the 3D printer at first. You know what I mean?
But they
Now,
are now. They
yeah,
are making
hard
parts.
now, right? But the first thing everybody made was some stupid, nonsensical thing. You know what I mean? And it was usually something stupid. You
They
know,
made
I
a rubber ducky with a Foxbody hat.
this is more like a male genitalia with Joe Biden's head on it or something. That's what my guys did with it when we first got a 3D printer. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is juvenile. It was funny the first three you printed. Now let's make something cool. So the using AI to make a stupid video of your car rolling through Seattle was cool the first couple months. You know what I mean? Now do something cool with it. And if you're going to do something cool with it, make sure that the Fox body has the body lines in the right spot and it's not all distorted. You know what I mean?
I mean, you
I've
could do
seen,
you could do some interesting design work with it, right? Like you said, you can change the colors, you can change the wheel styles, the wheel colors. You
can't
can
you have
you
AI
can
take,
wide body it.
yeah, can't you, but can't you have AI take real cars and just crop them and put them to your background instead of having,
You
uh,
can if you prompt it right. You can if you prompt
yeah,
it right. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I'm saying, well, regardless, I'm saying, I guess I get overload from, no content nonsense at
Listen,
time.
at the end of the day, look, AI, it's not going to affect guys like you, Nick, and me that are in service-based work,
Mm.
right? The
Yeah,
the white collar jobs, the stockbrokers, the
at first, of
the
course,
people that are working at office jobs, desk jobs on computers. AI is never going to turn a wrench until they develop the robots and they
well,
program with AI. But
I
Yeah.
at some point, you are going to have robots that are going to be able to run running cable through walls. You know what I mean? We build
yeah,
drop ceilings for a living. It's a grid pattern. You could train a robot. Right now, they're having robots, cameras watching people's hand movements, assembling parts so that robots can do that. But that's okay. We're never going to be able to get away with that. I don't see that affecting our car community right now. And,
I don't think that'll happen in our
uh,
lifetime. Listen, robots have been building shit with the
yeah,
production lines, Ford and stuff like that. It's going to get better, but at the end of the day, you
yeah,
know, a guy like you, John, a guy like Nick, a guy like you that's
yeah.
building cars, turning wrenches, a guy
Great
like Nick
sword,
that's out
Dad.
there installing HVAC.
Yeah,
Like Nick and I were having a conversation. He's got newer techs
yeah,
that where if they run into an issue, they can take a picture of whatever it is,
yeah.
ask AI the question, and it'll typically get them the correct answer, and they'll be able to diagnose it in the field without having to call in to
Right.
Nick. And you could do the same thing. So where like in the past you had to go to what like a Chilton's manual, right?
Yeah,
30 years ago.
find some service manual that you have no access to out in the field for that
Yeah.
particular thing, right?
It's in
Yeah,
the palm of your hands now in your
yeah,
hand, right? So the
right.
point I'm making is embrace some of this shit because it is going to help you. It's going to make you more efficient.
Oh, absolutely. And we have it. We're not shunning it. I'm referring to the silliness of the things
Mhm.
that are being done with it.
Oh, you can do
Um,
a lot of silly shit with AI, John. I know, but I'm just
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
yeah. But there are people out there that want nothing to do with AI, and it's like, guys, let's be smart here. I mean, if you're still working at a manuals and books,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, oh, well, here's one of the things that's great about what we're doing, working on these 40-year-old cars with the old wiring harnesses. no AI in the world is going to help you too much. You know what I mean? The best it's going to do is bring you to articles from real people having the problems. You know what I mean? That's what I
Hmm.
find very helpful for, you know.
Well, yeah,
But
it gathers information. It learns. It's like a
it's
thermostat. Like
I like using it as a glorified search engine, you know what I mean? But when you're trying to find the color of a wire in a trunk release button for, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's incredibly helpful, especially if you don't have access to, say, all data or something like that. Sorry, guys.
You got a train going by there, John? But the
I live in the country. It's diesel trucks.
oh Jesus!
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, you could take a picture of a wire and you could tell them what what you're looking to do, the make and model of the car, and it'll most of the time pretty accurately tell you, which wire to work, like whatever it is the issue you're having. It's pretty cool like that. Look, I mean, look,
it's kind of like the dawn of YouTube, like what YouTube did for you trying to wrench on your car. To this day, YouTube is incredible. We work on other things. I drive all sorts of different cars, Lincolns and stuff. If you want to take a door panel apart, instead of breaking pieces like we used to in the 90s because you didn't know where every clip was, boom, you got it. So I'm embracing technology. I don't want to embrace stupidity on a high level,
but
but
you're not a boomer, John. You're not a boomer. You're
no,
not old enough to be a boomer.
no, absolutely. Well, anyway, so maybe I take people too literally because I get bent out of shape when they call me a boomer. You know what I mean? But so, no. So anyway, yeah. It's overall. What have we been doing lately? We're doing cars, and we started that Northeast Fox Frenzy 3 years ago. That was started for a benefit for Adam Carter because his shop burned down, and the following year, we figured we were going to do it again. So we got Kelly, Kelly Frank. Kelly, geez, I always screw up the last name, but she's been doing the most of it. The last 2 years, she's kind of running the show over there, and we're hoping to keep the thing getting bigger and bigger every year. But
This year is your third year, right?
this is going to be the third year. So, last year we tried to get the trade schools involved and stuff. We haven't had a whole lot of luck. We were hoping to get the kids down there with some of their cars, but the schools never show up. So, but I think we had 300 and some odd cars last year, mostly Fox bodies. It was 270 Fox bodies maybe. We had a dyno. That was a lot of fun. We had everybody's cars up there, and
the swap meet on the side. We were there. It was
Of course,
yeah,
not.
that's well, I mean, it's kind of a grassroots show. You know what I'm saying? It's not it's a 3-day event. September 4th, 5th, and 6th, but the 4th is just like a meet and greet at my shop. We're gonna have a burnout contest, so we're gonna do it Friday night, so we don't piss off the neighbors, who help pay the rent. So it'll be barbecue or something to that effect. We're gonna have a food truck, loud music, obnoxiousness, bring your underglow, that type of thing. And then Saturday's the main show. And I'd have to talk to Kelly on the details, but Sunday is usually just like a cars and coffee at the Pulaski Park where the show is. The following day. But like I'm saying, it's a grassroots show. It's literally on the grass, and it's not as polished as some of these big events, but
Have you guys considered moving to a parking lot where you're not on the grass? Because I know that does keep some, oddly enough, it does keep some people away, especially if it rains a couple days before. People are a little funny about that, man.
No, yeah, I know. We've definitely considered it. Like we've talked about, like doing like maybe Palmer Motorsports. That's a racetrack right near the place, and that didn't turn out to have a lot more paved parking. And then other considerations that are local to us weren't very exciting, weren't very relaxing. We liked having the big pavilion there. We're kind of figuring if we outgrow this place, you know what I mean? And I know what you're saying. Maybe that's stopping us from outgrowing this place. I don't
No,
know.
I was at Carlisle last year.
Yeah,
I'll
and
never.
that's all on grass. And look at the cars that show up there.
Last year
Yeah,
was
but that's
horrible.
that was bad. I
Oh,
mean the rain,
yeah, no, I
but the
understand. I
first.
was there. It was last year when it rained the entire time,
The
and
whole time.
yeah, and I brought that S351. My dad brought an S281, both convertibles. Yeah, it was miserable, but what did we do? We sat in tents. You know what I mean? And what do we do in the rain at this place? We can go sit under the pavilion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was we pulled in there Thursday and we went to Jen's like pre-show. She has we go to a brewery there, and the weather was nice Thursday last year. We pulled in, and we get there about 6 o'clock. It's like from 5 to 8, and like 20 minutes after we get in, I see like 8 guys. They like ran in a panic, like we gotta go, we gotta go. And I'm like, what the fuck? Rain's coming. I'm like, what the fuck? The sun's out. Rain came an hour later. But that's how funny people are about the weather and their cars and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at that last where the hell, Ponies and the Smokies, and we
Yep.
showed up to some event that they had, and I one of the first people there got a great parking spot, and it sprinkled for 5 minutes, and everybody took off like cockroaches, and we were parked in some grass, and I guess I get your point, but how big of a show. I don't think we're going to have an explosive 700 car show if we found a better venue, and then what is the goals of our show? You know what I
What
mean?
is the goal? Yeah. What is the goal, Joe?
Yeah, and I guess we're not really defining it. Does everything have to be a major, week long event at beautiful venues? Are we trying to attract all the $275,000 cars, or are we, you know what I'm saying? Like we do have some beautiful cars that showed up. I mean, I don't know how many beautiful cars that showed up at our show that wouldn't come next year because it's on grass. I mean, I don't know. It would be unfortunate if we didn't get beautiful cars like Sal Bathello's, in your cars, but I don't think it would behoove us right now to move to a larger, more expensive venue. I kind of like the grassroots feel of what we're doing. I like the swap meet in the back.
The grassroots on the grass.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything doesn't have to be a real polished major event. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, I agree with you. I mean, we've been there both years. We're coming back this year. We're showing up Long Island to support. We've gone and hung out on grass in rain, but when I'm saying that, I'm not talking about ourselves. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate. It just keeps it
yeah,
keeps a large part of the
Well, it's
community
all the
away.
guys with the low mile Fox bodies, right? Like
yeah,
30 years later, they all got under 100,000 miles and they're all never seen rain. So
yeah,
it's those
yeah,
guys that don't come out. But
yeah. Well,
Well, I bring my 15,000 miles saline out in the fucking rain.
it
I
doesn't,
don't care.
I mean, it doesn't matter if they're on grass or wherever they are. It's a few hour long show the day of the event. They're going to have to drive that Garage Queen on the wet road anyway, and if they're not willing to do that, they're not coming anywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I
and we've seen major events like Motor City where they get completely washed out, and like their first event there. You know what I mean? We were in the parking lot of Ford headquarters in the RV in like 2 feet of water. It's like, what do you do about something like that when you have such a major investment into such a thing? It's devastating to the people putting on the show. What we're doing is
Yeah, it is a risk. It is a risk.
it's so much less risk and stress free, and we can have a good time. You know what I mean? If people don't like our crappy venue with a big burnout box and a dyno, then go somewhere else. I don't
Hey, listen, we
know.
were there for 2 years. There was never any complaints, no neighbors. You guys were doing burnouts. Mountains of rubber were on
Yeah,
fire. Like, it
fire.
was,
We got molten rubber on fire in the parking lot. We're gonna have a
nobody
lot,
said
a lot
anything.
of band this year. We're raffling off cars, all sorts of crap. It's kind of a free for all. You know what I mean? There's good food. We're gonna have more food trucks. The swap meet. It's just kind of wander around. You're not gonna get burnt out. It's something that you can do in a day trip. If and if you're traveling, we have the little pre-meet before. It's something good for the people of the Northeast to make a 2 day thing out of it or a long weekend.
My first year there was I was actually moving my son into Mass and I was there in my Shelby truck, and Vinny and Carl came over to Ferry, and I came in my truck, and I met them, did the show, and I went back to Mass, and they went to Long Island.
Right, and you went home in your own bed, and it was, short and sweet, and you got to see some relatively cool shit,
Well, what do you think it is about the Northeast? Like, I mean, not talking about your show, but
Yeah,
like Jen had like Jen attempted to do the 12 Fox thing
yeah,
there for a couple of years, and she never seemed to really get some traction.
yeah,
What is it about the Northeast? Because you're talking about a, I mean, shit, it might be the most populous part of the country, the
yeah,
Northeast of the United States.
yeah,
I think it is.
insane.
I
Definitely.
mean, it's insane how many
Yeah,
people are here. Why can't we pull off a show like Foxtoberfest, right?
we
Four
can.
Fox bodies in North Carolina. Why can't we do something like that here?
I think you
You
can.
can. I don't
Yeah,
think. I'll be honest. I think Chocolate Fox was onto a good thing.
yeah,
I know that the registrations and that pre stuff, but I think it was actually, from what I seen, from what I heard, was actually growing, and quietly. Because there's some things that grow fast and it
yeah.
blossoms and it's there. This thing, like everybody chirped about it, especially when it was
Yeah,
came to a big
I
like.
rooted for it, and then I got involved in something else and couldn't make it. And then the weather, I think, really hammered her, and that was just kind of the final blow of her trying to bring it back. But
And it might be the cost of the parking lots because it is an expense. You know what I mean? I don't
It
know.
well,
was it
you
was
want to know
not
what I think?
expensive.
I think people started overthinking it too a lot. People start overthinking things a lot. You know what I mean? And you know how like something has a little shine to it once it gets out of the gate. It's harder to bring something back than it is to hit it right the first time and run with it. And as
I
far
think
as we already have events in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? You have Hershey.
Carlisle.
Carlisle is so huge for Ford meets. Um, anyway, what my point is, I think you could do a huge Ford show in the New York area. You could do in New England. You know what I mean? Connecticut, something like that. Southern Connecticut, near New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah, North Jersey, where you get all the guys from
And
Connecticut.
and, and
Yeah.
well, here's what I say. You got to think about it. Look at how like marketplace works. Things in North Jersey hang forever. They're hard to sell. Nobody wants to go to Jersey and buy anything. Nobody wants to go anywhere near the city and do anything. Trust me on that. You got to get it away from the city, but
Yeah.
make it convenient for the people that are from the metropolitan areas.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to try selling something on Long Island on Marketplace. You know what a bitch it is. Try selling something in Jersey. It's a pain in the ass. Nobody wants to go there and pick up a drive line
I
and
do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're talking from your experience above the city
No,
there,
I'm,
Parker.
I'm, I'm just talking from like things that I save in my marketplace, things
Yeah,
that I know would sell up here in no time. Like, if you're on the 91 corridor or 95, in Connecticut, you're going to sell everything. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
I think
so
I
you could,
think part of the problem is I think the weather. I think if you're
well,
gonna do a major show, you're on the right track. It's got to be in September. I think the best weather for the Northeast here is right after Labor Day, right after the kids go back to school, middle
yeah,
September. There's usually no rain. It's
probably not
dry.
going to get 100 degrees. You're not going to,
Yeah.
it's
It's
going to
usually
be
75 as the humidity goes away, right?
right.
The humidity here goes away the middle to the end of August, right? So you don't have those 80-degree days that feel like they're 100 or those 90-degree days that feel like they're 110. You do get them now, starting
Yeah,
now, end of May, all the way to like the middle of August. But the rain goes away. It's very dry in
yeah,
September in the Northeast. We get a lot of rain here. We really do. Get a
yeah.
Oh
shit
yeah,
ton of
and
rain.
this year especially, this year's been.
Every year we get a shit ton of rain. I
Well,
mean,
it's totally unpredictable the weather in New England. So that's something you're gonna have to gamble with. And one of the considerations I had is, there's one of the things holding us back in our area from having a huge major show is we don't have places, to go. You know what I mean? As far as cool engine building shops or race car shops. We don't have Mustang museums and cool stuff like that to drag people in to make it a week long event or anything like that. I think that would be a real stretch for us with what we have to work with in the area.
On that note, is actually a good topic, John. We should, throw up on the den to just gauge where Connecticut, Jersey, Long Island, Pennsylvania, where would you get the most people? We should just have like a
I mean, I'm blown away that nobody's been success like
Like,
nobody's been not
well,
successful, but nobody's been able to build a. I think with the amount of people you have here, and I know there's a shit ton of Fox bodies here. I see them all over the place. I know you see them there, Parker. And look
oh
at,
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
there's,
and even like I'm saying, if with on our shoestring budget, without putting a major effort into it as far as like venue or anything like that, if we can drag in 300 Fox bodies,
that's a cool
that's a
show.
we know that we have a pulse here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you get,
yeah.
and we've considered like MGM Grand. That's a casino that's not doing very well around here, but it's a beautiful venue. They got a parking garage. You could do it in the parking garage. If it rains, if it don't rain, you do it on the top floor.
They
You
used
get
to
the
do it
sun.
at Foxwoods like that. I've been to a few
Yeah,
Barrett
yeah,
Jacksons and at Foxwoods.
right. Yeah, and we did the Celine Nationals one year at Foxwoods that they had it at, and they didn't use the parking garage, but they used parking areas of it, and that's a great idea. You know what I mean? If it rains, you do it on the second floor. But
Nick, if we do a car show at the casino, bro, you're not going to be at the car show, and a lot of guys are going to be inside the casino. It's going to be a
Sorry,
display.
well,
sorry.
I think something like that's like your only hope. You need a big venue, and you need other things around it for people to do. And what do we have for?
Do you really think the 1 week format really? I mean, because I've been,
I think it's excessive for most people, but I think a lot of people enjoy it. And like, I wish that I had time to do all 7 days or something someday. Actually, I'd love to be a tourist, but
yeah.
I think 4 days is more than enough. Traveling takes a lot out of you. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know
So
what? That is the case with Pigeon Forge ponies and the Smokies. There are a lot of people that take the week off. They go in even on the Saturday before the show, the week before the show. They bring their families. There's a lot to do around there.
yeah.
But Foxtoberfest, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like Foxtoberfest, most of the people start rolling in really around Thursday
Yeah, that's
for
what
the
I.
brewery night, which is a cool
Yeah.
event.
But I want to be able to
Yeah,
do that, relax, to be settled in, and be ready to hit it on
yeah,
Friday, and then then Sunday it's back on the road. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like it takes a lot out of you when you're traveling with an infant and my
yeah.
dad.
Trucks, trailers,
Yeah,
kids, the
all
whole.
that stuff that I gotta unpack and repack, and
Well,
so
you're bringing your whole shop with you,
I'm
John. I
bringing,
mean,
oh my God, I'm bringing like 20,000 pounds of crap in the trailer. And, sometimes I don't even have a car to drive when I get down there. You know what I mean?
I'm
And,
bitching about taking one car in an enclosed trailer and a
and
couple
then,
of
and then,
tools.
and then we do things like Motor City. I like to drive the car there. I never did the swap meet there. That's fun. You know what I mean? You always have, like you're saying, something breaks down. I had to make a thermostat housing gasket out of a Happy Meal box. You know what I mean? We had to pull the thermostat out. My dad's sitting there going, rub honey on it. Like we're trying to think anything we can use for gasket sealer. And he had
Uh,
honey with his chicken nuggets, and he's going, rub this on it. I'm going, I don't know about that, Dad. Used a razor blade and a eyeliner thing to trace out the housing, and we were off in about 15 minutes. So that was good. That was yeah. So yeah, Motor City, I really enjoy. You guys have been out there, right?
yeah,
It-
yeah.
I haven't. It's my first year because my kids dance the same week every year that these guys have started. It's the third year, fourth year now. This
yeah.
year, obviously, I took the time off. My kids don't dance. They switched it, and it's August 8th.
They switched it from July to
So I
August,
had
and
to
that's
switch
good for
my
you.
vacation because I told my wife, no, we're going July 15th. I need that week. Then they switched it, so we had to change my
Yeah.
vacation again.
I had a horrible moment a couple of years ago. The 40 years of Celine, whatever year that was, they invited me to bring that white Celine, that S351 I had, the low mile car. So they sent me the invite to have the car inside as a featured car. And I instantly was like, yes, you know what I mean? Like, what an honor, boom. Didn't even think about the date, nothing like that. And then I get home and, show my kids the email and everything. And my daughter's like, that's the day of my graduation from high school. And I'm like, oh,
Shit.
oh. So I, So I ended up buying a couple cars at Carlisle. So I got my car in the building the day of the show. The morning of, I drove a 5,000 mile '94 Cobra home to her graduation and took the Amtrak back. Oh, so I could get my trailer and everything back. I was there for the graduation, and it was like the second she was through, my kid got her diploma. Bye.
Yeah, we all been there.
I got the photo op, but I had to get back to the show. So that
You're
was
all about that life, huh? That's
well, yeah. No, I was there for her graduation, So
she can't
yeah,
hold that against you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. She was catching a plane right after anyway, so it worked out all right. I was
Like I
there.
said, the shows are cool, but I don't. Pits, notwithstanding, pony. I just, I like it. I mean, I like the hanging out stuff when we rent an Airbnb, but I feel most people typically roll in, Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, and then like if you go on a Tuesday, there's very little people there, for like a pre-meet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, Mustang Week and ponies, yeah, they celebrate, yeah.
Not everybody can take the time off. That's what it is, really, guys. Unless you're running
Yeah.
a business and you're your
Well,
own boss, it's very hard to
Well,
take the
even if
time
you
off.
are running a business and your own boss, it's very hard because everything, I can't stay away from everything for a week, and even if I go on a cruise or something, 3 days into it, I'm freaking out. I need to get involved again. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
You can't relax, right? So
well, yeah, I definitely can't relax, and that's a good thing. you know, well,
so
yeah,
uh, so so Parker, this is episode 2. We're at 1 hour right now. I'm gonna
Oh wow, time flies.
Gary, when you're having fun. John, do you want to say anything or give any advice or anything before we leave, or did you say it all?
yeah. I guess I said it all. It's been fun. I mean, I hope everybody doesn't think I'm the grumpy old boomer. Just
You're
you
not
know,
a boomer.
no shit. I know
You
that.
shouted out your show this year, right? You said September. What is it
Oh
for?
yeah, the fourth through the seventh, and yeah, keep an eye on what I'm doing on Facebook. Somebody buy some stuff. I'm always selling stuff. Come
John Parker, right, on Facebook, right?
John Parker on Facebook, and
Do
yeah,
you have a five? Do you have a five O's to go page on Facebook or no?
no, I don't even bother. You can get a hold of me directly. I always do a preview of what I'm selling on my personal page before I put it out there on Marketplace. And yeah, shout out to Eli and John and Kelly, and let's have some fun. Let's get the season started. See you guys at the next show.
We'll see you at Carlisle. What in what's that? 2 weeks?
I'm, I'm not making it. I'm working. You might see John and Kelly out there. I'm not sure, but
You're not making our barbecue. We got the famous
well,
barbecue Friday
I
night.
would love to be there, but I told you I'm doing this parking garage job, and I'm just I got the tools back on after 5 years, and gotta keep the rest of it afloat because without the sealing business in the front, the car business in the
Yeah,
back is
John
nowhere
and
to.
I were talking about that the
There's no
other day.
Fox bodies, right? There's no Fox body phone without the
There would
without
be
the
Fox bodies, but I'd be operating out of about a third of the space, and you know what happens when that happens? Nothing happens. It gets jammed up. So I don't want
Exactly.
to have a fire sale and downsize. So let's keep the sealing business going.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us today. This is what we're going to call this episode Parker Part 2, right? This is the first time we've had a guest on for two episodes. But like I said, 40 years, you had a lot to cover. So, John, I want to thank you for joining us. It was 2 great episodes. Thank you. Hopefully, people got to like and know and really know who you are rather than that old grumpy boomer that you're saying that you are. He's a good guy. Talk to this guy. Go up to him at a show. He's friendly. He's approachable. I know, like he's mentioned, because I have. You can message him on Facebook. He will give you free technical advice. This guy is an asset to the community. Nick, thank you for joining us today, John. Again, everybody, you know how to do the thing. Like, share, subscribe, rate us on YouTube if you can. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're on all of those. And thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.
See you guys later. Talk to you soon.